Lucas, a quiet 10-year-old boy, discovered his destiny on his 10th birthday. A mysterious magic pillow transported him to the Cloud Kingdom, a world stolen by shadows. There, a guardian named Barnaby revealed that Lucas is the Dream Walker, the only one who can bring back the light. With a magic marble in his pocket and courage in his heart, Lucas's journey to save the Queen has officially begun. Tonight's story is, The Dream Walker Has Returned. Chapter 2, The Whisper Woods and the Blade of Brightness. The day in Oakhaven felt very long for Lucas. He sat through his school lessons, but his mind was far away. He kept reaching into his pocket to feel the smooth, blue marble. Finally, the sun began to dip below the trees, and the house became quiet once again. Lucas brushed his teeth, put on his favorite blue pajamas, and climbed into bed. He placed his head on the magic pillow, and the silver star began to glow instantly. With a soft whoosh, the walls of his room melted away. He was back in the gray forest, and Barnaby was waiting for him. Barnaby led Lucas to the base of a giant, jagged mountain. Its peaks were hidden behind thick, swirling clouds of gray mist. "This is the Mountain of Echoes," Barnaby said quietly. "The light sword is hidden deep inside its heart." Lucas looked up at the steep rocks and felt a little bit nervous. "The mountain is tricky, Lucas," the old man warned. "It whispers to travelers and tries to lead them the wrong way." He explained that the mountain echoes a person's fears back at them. If a traveler is too loud or too scared, they will get lost in the noise. "But you are a quiet boy," Barnaby said with a smile. "You know how to listen to the truth." Lucas hugged his magic pillow and took his first step onto the rocky path. Break time equals 0. 5s/. The wind began to whistle through the stones, sounding like tiny voices sharing secrets. Lucas didn't run or shout. He walked slowly and stayed very calm. He closed his eyes for a moment to feel the path beneath his feet. He was ready to face whatever was waiting in the dark. Lucas reached the cave entrance. It was shaped like a star, just like the one on his pillow. Inside, it was very dark and cold. Lucas held his pillow out like a lantern. The silver star glowed, lighting up the gray stone walls in blue. Soon, the path split into 3 different tunnels. Lucas stopped and listened. The first 2 tunnels were filled with noisy, tricking whispers. But the 3rd tunnel was perfectly quiet. He remembered Barnaby's advice to trust the silence. Lucas sat down and closed his eyes. He felt a warm tingle coming from the silent tunnel. It felt just like his magic pillow. Lucas stood up and smiled. He walked into the quiet path, knowing it was the right way. Lucas walked further into the quiet tunnel. The walls began to sparkle like they were covered in diamonds. Soon, he entered a giant room made of clear crystal. In the very center of the room, stuck inside a glowing rock, was the light sword. The sword did not look like a heavy weapon. It looked like a long, thin beam of solid sunshine. It hummed with a happy sound that made Lucas feel brave. As he approached, the shadows in the corners of the room started to wiggle and shrink away. Lucas reached out his hand, but he stopped. He felt a little bit of doubt. "Can a quiet boy like me really hold this?" he whispered. Just then, his magic pillow pulsed with a warm light. It reminded him that his quiet heart was his greatest strength. Lucas took a deep breath and grabbed the handle. As Lucas pulled the sword from the stone, the cave began to rumble. The happy humming sound turned into a low, angry growl. Suddenly, thick black smoke began to pour out of the cracks in the walls. It was the Shadow King's fog, and it was trying to trap Lucas inside. The light from his pillow began to flicker and fade. The shadows stretched across the floor like long, dark fingers reaching for his feet. Lucas felt a wave of cold fear wash over him. "You cannot leave with the light," a cold voice hissed from the darkness. Lucas squeezed the handle of the light sword. He realized the sword was waiting for him to use it. He didn't need to swing it like a warrior, he just needed to let his own courage shine. He held the sword high above his head and thought of the bright sun in Oakhaven. The light sword erupted with a brilliant, warm glow. The shadows hissed and melted away like ice on a summer day. "I am not afraid," Lucas said, his voice quiet but steady. As he spoke, the golden light of the sword and the blue light of his pillow merged together. The path out of the cave was now clear. The light didn't just show him the rocks, it showed him the way home. Break time equals 0. 5s / Lucas began to run, but he didn't feel heavy or tired. He felt as light as a feather. Every time the dark fog tried to block his path, a single wave of the light sword cleared the air. He burst out of the star-shaped entrance and back onto the mountain slope. The cold wind tried to blow him back, but the sword acted like a shield of warmth. Lucas could see Barnaby waiting far below, looking like a tiny speck of brown leaf. He had done it. He had claimed the first treasure of the Cloud Kingdom. Lucas reached the bottom of the mountain where Barnaby was waiting. As he approached, the light sword's glow turned the gray grass back to a bright, healthy green. Barnaby's eyes widened with joy as he saw the color returning to the earth. "You did it, Lucas," the old man cheered, clapping his small hands. Lucas looked at the sword in his hand. It felt light and warm, like holding a piece of the morning sun. It didn't hurt the shadows, Lucas noticed. It just made them disappear. Barnaby nodded wisely. "That is the secret of light, Lucas. It doesn't fight, it just reveals the truth." But the journey wasn't over yet. Far across the gray plains, the Shadow King's tower pulsed with a dark, angry purple light. The king knew the light sword had been found. "We must move quickly," Barnaby whispered, looking at the horizon. "The queen is waiting, and the shadows are growing restless." As the purple sky began to swirl, Lucas felt the familiar pull of his own world. "Rest now, dream walker," Barnaby called out. Lucas closed his eyes, hugging his pillow and the light sword tight. With a soft, warm glow, the gray world faded away. He woke up in his bed just as the morning sun hit his face. The sword was gone, but Lucas didn't feel empty. He felt a new strength humming deep inside his chest. He looked at his magic pillow, which sat quietly on his bed. He reached under his bed and opened his secret box to store his thoughts. Even without the sword in his hand, he felt like he was carrying a piece of the sun with him. Downstairs, the house was busy and loud as usual. Sam was shouting about his shoes, and Lily was humming a song. Lucas walked into the kitchen with a calm, confident smile. He was still the quietest boy in Oakhaven, but he wasn't just a dreamer anymore. He was the dream walker, and he was ready for whatever came next. The story has ended, and the night is calm. Thank you for joining us on Magic Pillow. Snuggle up, close your eyes, and let your dreams take you to magical places. Sweet dreams, and good night.